welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Gracie and I'm going to be a sophomore at the University of Alabama. Today, I'm bringing you my most requested video on this channel. Yes, I get so many DMs every single day asking me for a rush tips video, and I finally have my list compiled and ready to go so that you can have the best recruitment ever. Are you excited? Oh my goodness. Basically, when I was going through Rush, I binge watched every Sorority 101, Rush recruitment, why all the houses dropped me, every single video. I wanted to be the most educated I could. There weren't too many Rush tips specifically for my school at the University of Alabama, but these Rush tips are pretty universal. Recruitment is different among different schools. I wanted to include a bunch of tips that I didn't really hear in many other videos. So to me, I think my video is definitely unique because a lot of the videos said the same types of things. This video does include some of those tips because some of them are very true, but others don't really apply anymore. I don't know. I wanted to give you guys super updated, up-to-date with 2019 recruitment sort of tips, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed sitting down and thinking about all the things that can make your rush go as smooth as possible. So sorry if you see me looking at my phone, it's because I have all of the tips in a huge list here in my notes app, and we're gonna get to it. Tip number 1 is to make friends in your Rokai group. Now I know that different schools call this a different thing. They could be Rokais, Rogams, I've heard them called a billion different things. So basically it is the group of girls that you are grouped into based off of your last name, who are all going through recruitment. My exact group, we were all O last names. My last name's O'Connor. It just makes sense. The reason I say this is because not every girl in your Rokai group is going to go the same sorority as you. I only had one girl in my whole Rokai go the same sorority as me, and I'm so obsessed with her, and I'm so glad that we are sorority sisters. So hi Grace, if you're watching this. While it's good to make friends in just your sorority, it's great to have Pan Love and of course another sorority. So I have friends in Alpha Phi, Phi Mu, Delta Gamma, Alpha Chi Omega. We all went different sororities, and now I'm friends with their friends and they're friends with my friends, and we just have such an amazing Pan Love for each other. So I definitely suggest that you make friends with these girls. I wouldn't suggest sharing recruitment stuff with them during Rush. Obviously you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to talk bad things about their sorority that they really like, and you don't want to hear bad things about the sorority you really like from them, because obviously everybody has a different experience. But after Rush is over and you've all gone your separate ways, it's nice to have friends in other houses too. Speaking of Rokais, utilize your Rokai, your Rogam, whoever it is. This girl has disaffiliated from her sorority to help make your decision easier for you. She's gonna give you completely unbiased tips about the sororities that you are considering. You're gonna tell her how you feel about all your sororities, and she's gonna help you sort through your emotions. Using my Rokai was one of the best things I could have done, especially heading into prep, having to drop from 7 houses to 2. I was really struggling, especially because there were 3 houses that I loved, but to be honest, thank goodness for my Rokai, because with her help I eliminated all the other houses and truly ended up in my #1 house, and I'm so glad that I utilized my Rokai. So I definitely suggest that you do that, especially if you're stuck. If you know this is the sorority for me, this is the house I'm going, maybe you don't need to talk to your Rokai as much. But if you're really struggling, or you're just a little curious to see what she has to say, they are trained to help you figure out what you're feeling about these houses and give you great information. This is a small side tip. Buy a minifan. If you are going through fall recruitment, especially in the South or somewhere where it's super hot in the months that you're rushing, a minifan is the way to go. I found mine at Target for like $5. It's about this big and it runs on batteries. Bring extra batteries, and it turns on, and when you're running from house to house or even walking from house to house and dripping sweat, I mean dripping. It is so hot outside. So hot here. You definitely can turn on your fan and cool off your face and definitely eliminate some sweat. If you're like me and you have to run from one side of sorority row to the other with no parties in between, yes, you are definitely gonna want that mini fan. And I promise you, every girl around you's gonna have that fan too. It's a cliche tip, but I had to add it in here because it saved my butt during recruitment. Another cliche tip, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart, be yourself. What I mean by this is that being in a sorority is a lifelong commitment. And that sounds really scary, but you want to be in a house that has its ideals lined up with your ideals. And you want to have girls in the house who immediately feel like they can be your best friends. You don't want to have to pretend around any of them. You don't just want to be like, oh, I want to be in this house because they're the prettiest girls, or they have the best grades, or the boys really like those girls, but you don't really fit in, or you don't like the girls in the house. What's the point of spending all that money? Maybe it's your own money, maybe it's your parents' money and you don't care, but you should care because it's 4 years of your life, and then after that, it's your alumni clubs and all kinds of things. You really just want to feel connected and fit into your sorority. The best advice I got during Rush was from my Rokai actually, and she told me, she said, you want to pick the house where you feel like you can walk in with hair up and messy, no makeup on, t-shirt and shorts with no bra on, and still feel comfortable in that house. And really that tip stuck with me throughout Rush. She said that to me on the first day, and I really did feel it in the house that I ended up going, and I was so grateful to have that in the back of my mind, like, okay, do I feel comfortable enough here at my worst? And I'm telling you right now, I could walk into my sorority looking like I just rolled out of the grave, and they would still love me and accept me for who I am. And that's what I really love. And I think it's a really good tip to consider, especially if you're struggling trying to figure out what sorority you want to go. You want to go somewhere where you feel comfortable, where you feel like you could burp in the middle of your conversation during Rush and the girl laugh with you and not be disgusted at you. Speaking of conversations with an active, be a good conversationalist. This is something that is talked about all over YouTube. You want to be able to have a free-flowing conversation with the girl that you're talking to in the sorority. The conversation's stuck or is dry. It's really awkward. I've had that happen in a house where she just kind of didn't know what to talk to me about. If you know me, I could talk for days and still the conversation just wouldn't move. That being said, like, if they ask you what your major is, feel free to ask them back to see what their major is. If they ask you about your summer, you probably don't want to ask about their summer. Just know how to have a good conversation and keep it flowing for the amount of time that you're going to be in the house. I promise, even in the houses that you might not want to be in, it makes the time go so much faster for the both of you. But definitely be attentive, be a good conversationalist. My next tip is to consider the financials. I know that there are so many girls who went through recruitment and had to drop out before pref because they realized that they couldn't afford it. Start thinking about it now. Maybe you're not going into Rush this fall and you're going into it next fall. Start up a savings account, maybe save some money here and there. I know not everybody can afford to have their parents pay for their sorority, but I promise you, look me in the eyes right now. I promise you, being in a sorority is worth every single penny. The lifelong friendships that you'll have and the lifelong connections that you have are worth down to every cent, I promise. So definitely consider, I want you there for all 4 years. Like, I want to have you be in my sorority for all 4 years and then be in my alumni club and have you with me. So it's just something to consider. I'm not pushing you to do anything. Just know that I want you to be the happiest you can be, especially if that is in a sorority, and I want to make sure that you're as stress-free as possible being able to afford it. This one's kind of funny to me. Make your Instagram public. If you are going through recruitment, girls want to see your pictures. They want to look through your account and see what you're doing and see if you're having fun. And I really love to stalk you guys when I see that you're coming to Alabama. I love to look through your pictures if you're on public because I'm so curious to see what you guys are all up to. That being said, keep your Instagrams clean. You know, you don't want any underage drinking or things that are not supposed to be on your Instagram because without even knowing you, it can reflect a little poorly upon you. So just make sure you're keeping it clean and fun and classy and public. I want to see you guys. That being said, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. In your conversations in the houses, make sure that you are getting something out of your conversation. If you do want to ask a question, like I mentioned earlier, ask it. Girls will be so free to answer your questions. It's really important because this is your recruitment. These are your houses that you're going through. You're trying to figure out where you belong, and you don't want to have any questions at the end of the day when you're trying to pick your final house. Like, oh man, I should have asked them this. So if it's during sisterhood round and you want to know what your girl thinks is the best part of their sisterhood, ask her. She will gladly tell you, and she'll want you to know why she loves her sisterhood. Like if somebody were to ask me that, oh my goodness, I'd probably talk for the rest of the time about how much I love my sisterhood. But it's a good way to know things about the house. You just may have questions about certain things, and you want to make sure that you're getting out of it what you want out of it, because again, it is your recruitment. You don't want to have any unanswered questions at the end of the day when you're picking houses. Small side tip number 2, why that's a 4. Okay, mints. So of course you're going to have a bag that you carry with you from house to house that contain various items, water, fans, etc. Bring mints. You're this close to the girls next to you. It's really loud, so you're kind of being loud as well. And you don't want to have bad breath when you're talking to a girl so close to you. You don't have enough time to chew gum in between houses, so I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that because you won't get enough out of it. But mints are a surefire thing. Sometimes you only have 5 minutes in between a house, pop in a couple of mints and you'll be good to go. I promise you. Save you during rush. Even if you don't consider yourself to have bad breath, you're talking a lot and your mouth's getting dry and you're just putting water in, trust me, take mints with you. So during a few of the rounds you will wear wedges, and if you have a limited amount of time to get from one house to another and they're on opposite ends of sorority row where they're just far from each other, you're going to want to have sandals. You can easily slip off your wedges and slip on your sandals, run to the next house, put back on your wedges. I promise you, taking on and off your wedges and putting on sandals is a lot faster than trying to run in your wedges. Again, the day I was talking about having the fan running from one end of sorority row to the other, I switched my shoes and it saved me so much, especially because when there are 40 minutes and 50 minutes that you're in a house, your feet are gonna start to hurt standing up. So it's really good to just wear some sandals in between. This next tip I got from my coworker at Lily Pulitzer before I left off for school last year for Rush. And thank goodness I took it to heart because again, it really helped make my decision very smooth during prep. So when you are going into houses, they line you up in alphabetical order. The first 2 days, like open house round, you're with your big row chi group. And after that, when drops and cuts are made, you get broken down into a lot of different groups. So when it comes to prep and you're outside of the house, take a look to the girls, the right, left, the front, the back of you. Take it all in because the girls standing around you could very likely be your sorority sisters. In both houses, see, there could be a girl next to you that you're like, oh my goodness, I do not really care for her personality. Or you could have girls next to you like, oh my goodness, I love. Just take into account who's around you because again, those could be your future sorority sisters and that'll help you determine the personality that the house is attracting. Doing this really helped me during prep because I was able to take, again, a look around and see what girls were around me, what girls could be my sorority sister, and it really helped me get a full feel for the houses that I was prepping and could have as my future sorority. Another tip I have for you is to not take drops personally. This is the hardest tip I'm gonna give you. I did get dropped from one of my top houses and I really had to remind myself not to be upset over it because during recruitment you're so clouded by the judgment of yourself and others and Greek rank, which do not go on Greek rank, please. It ruins you. Oh. So it can be really hard to not take drops seriously and take them to heart, but I promise you, you don't want a sorority that doesn't want you, and it's for the best. No girl is dropping you because they didn't like your lipstick color or your nails were too long or your shoes weren't the right brand. I promise you, it's not shallow. Like as shallow as the media and other things make sororities look, they're not, and they're not going to drop you over certain things. So don't worry about that. You will end up where you belong. Everybody says it. It's the most annoying thing to hear in a video is to trust the process. And the unfortunate thing is you just won't understand what that means until you go through recruitment. And then you realize, oh my goodness, when all these people say trust the process, it actually works. And it's something so weird and it's something so hard to explain, but you do just have to trust the process and to take every drop with a grain of salt. And I'm not sitting here being like, oh, you'll be fine if you get dropped. No, I mean, getting dropped hurts, you know? It kind of stinks, especially when you really do like the house. But when all is said and done, there was purpose behind the drop, and you shouldn't get too upset over it because I'm sure that you have a bunch of other amazing houses on your card, and especially a house that will become your home. I just want to end this video with the cliche of all cliches, have fun. You just have a positive attitude and you will have so much more fun. It might be 100 degrees outside, it might be -12 outside if you're rushing in the spring. But just know that you're gonna have an amazing recruit. I'm sending all the amazing vibes toward you guys to have an incredible recruitment. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment down below. If you can, YouTube is taking away my comments. It's a very long thing. I got swept into this whole minor algorithm. I don't really know. Or else you can DM me on Instagram and I will do another video. Just let me know what you want. That is it for everything on my list. I hope that this video gave you something a little bit different and something to look forward to, whether you are going through recruitment this fall or next fall or in the spring or in 5 years from now, or you're just considering it. I wish you guys the best of luck. I love you so much. Don't forget to subscribe down below for all future college videos and follow me on Instagram, like this video. Just do everything and I will see you guys so soon. I love you. Mwah, bye.